Welcome back to 3 and Out. It's the fellas, Noah, Drew, Brandon. We're here to talk some college football preview. It's finally time. After what seems like an eternity, it is late July.
Yeah, I've been pushing for this since Memorial Day.
Yeah.
We've all been thinking about it. We've all been thinking about it.
Without, obviously EA Sports College Football 25 dropped last week. I think if that game hadn't, if we were dealing with this release like a year in advance, we already would have had this video up and out and all of that. But I think the timing's pretty much perfect to start talking about some conference previews, maybe a video coming for the college football playoff. Maybe we find a bracket. Maybe once the AP poll drops, we walk through.
I think that's in order.
I can see that.
Yeah, but for now, today, the Big 12. A lot of changes in this conference over the offseason, but we're going to break it down and we're going to pick a winner. This is the definitive championship predictions, so you can't change your picks. And this will happen in 3 alternative universes if we have 3 different champs. So this is law. So we're changing it up this year. Last year we went down the list, every team
by
walked
team,
through the schedule,
game by game,
talked about the quarterbacks, the running backs, everybody. Not this year. We are thankfully deciding to break it up into 6 tiers. We got best newcomer, dark horse, best offense, best defense, conference championship matchup, and conference champion. So I think that's a bit of a breath of fresh air for us and for you. Obviously the viewer. You don't have to watch, us preview 16 different teams
for an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah. As these conferences get bigger and bigger, it's harder and harder to do this sort of thing. So I think we're doing everybody a favor here.
For sure.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
Anything else before we get going?
No, just thank God it's finally here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're so close. We
So
have
close.
football in a month?
I got the
0?
countdown. Hold on.
Week 0 is like 36 days from now or something like
33 days, 32 days, 16 hours, 45 seconds.
that? Nice.
Crazy. And with the new
CFBselect.com.
Is that to noon? So I got 32 days, 15
I
hours.
don't know.
I need it down to the exact second.
Yeah.
Yeah. When does toe meet leather in the tech game?
That's true.
How long is the pregame going to run on for?
Who knows? Anyway, it's 32 days. It's
Yes.
almost a month.
Another reason I have that pulled up is we have an aggressive goal to reach 500 subscribers by this date, week 0 kickoff. So if you like this sort of content, feel free to drop a like, subscribe. We're going to be releasing content all the way up till kickoff and then after kickoff. So if you like college football as much as we do, we would appreciate you tuning in. So
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
without further ado, I think we should go ahead and get into it.
Let's go for it.
Was newcomers first?
Yes.
So the newcomers are Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah, just to make it multiple choice for those at home.
All right, we can just go around the horn. Brandon, who do you got and why?
We were talking about this a little earlier, and it kind of slipped my mind for a second that Arizona was a newcomer, which kind of makes the decision a little tougher for me. But I would be hard-pressed to pass up Utah here. I think Drew is saying they're actually betting favorites to win the conference right now.
They are.
Which makes sense. They have Cam Rising back for his, what seems like 10th year. Yeah. We're kidding, but I think it's actually 7. Like
It
6 or
is
7. Which is pretty nuts. But Utah has been a really solid team. I think they bring a lot more on the defensive side of the ball, potentially, to this conference. Shore up that side. Because looking at this, it was funny looking at the categories for this. It was like best defense in the Big 12. That's going to be a tough decision. But I don't know. I think I like them to at least make the conference championship game, a little teaser for later on. I know that's another category, but I think I like them being around and being the best. For me, it's kind of not 1A, 1B, but a close second place spot with Arizona. I like Fafita a lot. They had a really good year that last year. They've been ramping up. So I think they can do good as well, but Utah's my pick.
I like that.
Yeah. I'm just looking for one more thing about Utah because my answer is also Utah as the best newcomer. They are just one of those teams that is just, they're not like a national powerhouse, but they have been especially recently, they were a Pac-12 staple. They would always kind of find themselves in the Pac-12 championship game. And if they were in said championship game, most of the time they're winning and getting a berth in the Rose Bowl. They have a lot less luck in Pasadena, but yeah, I just looked at it like they made it 2 straight Rose Bowls, lost both of them. With all that being said, they are moving into a conference that kind of has a power vacuum at the top, with the perennial powerhouses of Oklahoma and Texas leaving. And I mean, Brandon already touched on it. Quarterback play. I mean, they're not going to have any problems there as long as he can stay healthy. Their defense is always going to be rock solid. I think they've been the best defense in the Pac-12 for like the past decade and a half. But yeah, I mean, there's not really anything more to say on that from my end.
Yep. And, not to beat a dead horse, Utah, as I think outside of Georgia, and obviously the teams at the top, they've been one of the more consistent programs in America. Like not even their conference, but America, in terms of the past 3 seasons, winning percentage. Their home field advantage has been quite a factor. I think they're going to come into the Big 12 and they're going to dominate. Name to watch though, underrated transfer alert. Heard it here first. Dorian Singer, who wide receiver transfer from USC. Played with Caleb Williams last year. Transferring, gets to be the top target for Cam Rising this year.
I didn't know that.
I think he's
wow.
primed for a big year in the Big 12.
I don't know ball. That's big.
Yeah, that's huge.
He's a great wide receiver.
Yeah, that is a good point on like the country stability. Like in the past 10 years, they have only won less than 9 games twice.
That's crazy.
3 times. Sorry, 3 times. But one of those this past year where they went 8-5.
Yeah, they've been nothing if not consistent.
Loaded.
Very solid football team
loaded
out in Salt Lake City
last year. So
yeah.
All right, so sweep the first category for
clean
Utah.
sweep.
Damn. Okay. All right. Next, I normally like to save this kind of category towards the end, but I think dark horse is one that is it merits a lot of attention, and I'm sure we'll get a lot of variety here after this first one kind of was a consensus.
Yeah.
So, who do we got?
I can start it off again if we want.
Sure.
I like the University of Central Florida.
You
That's the dark
motherfucker.
horse.
You son of a bitch.
Well, I mean, looking at the other names, you're funny, big guy. Look, looking at the other names, I'm hard pressed to say anybody else is a dark horse in this conference, unless I wanted to talk about Cincinnati. I don't really think there's much to talk about with Cincinnati or maybe Texas Tech. Look, with UCF, I refresh myself. They have KJ Jefferson now. And I think it was one of you that sent there was a quote from Gus Malzahn. I think it was Drew. And he said, what did he say? It was KJ Jefferson's the closest thing he's seen to Cam Newton, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. They went 6-7 this past year in their first year in the Big 12. First year in the Power 5. Not bad at all. Dipped their toes in, got a taste for it. Yeah.
It's not bad.
And then we were recently introduced to the home field advantage they have in the Bounce House down there in Orlando. So we know firsthand how passionate those fans are. I think they're a team to look out for. I think they can make some waves in the Big 12 this year. I don't know if they have an upside for conference championship just quite, but I think they're going to win more games than people might think.
I like that a lot.
If you don't mind.
Sorry, Drew.
It's okay. No. If you don't mind, I think I'm going to go next because it's going to be a continuation of Brandon's argument.
Fill in the gaps.
Fill in the gaps here. So, yes. There was definitely another team on this list that I was going to put as my dark horse, and then I realized that they were the third betting favorite to win the conference. And I was like, that is not that is not dark horse enough. That's like a light gray horse. Yeah. So, but anyway, so like Brandon already mentioned, Gus Malzahn is still the head ball coach down there. He's got KJ Jefferson, which is apparently Cam Newton reincarnated. Also, UCF does also play all newcomers to the conference, including Utah, final game of the season. So
That's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, so
That's fun.
I'm pretty sure they play Colorado very early. I can't remember when exactly, but they do play Colorado very early because there are talks of that game being the big noon kickoff.
Big noon.
Yeah. But anyway, so they also pull Arizona and Arizona State, and I think that they can, I don't want to out myself here, but I think they can hold their own against Arizona State at least. The other three, time will tell, but I think Arizona State they got a good shot on. Also, there is you can definitely tell their head coach comes from the SEC because there is definitely a Auburn to UCF pipeline.
Yeah.
In the wide receiver room, there's Kobe, I believe Hudson. I can't read my own handwriting here, and Javarius Johnson.
Seems legit.
Yeah, seems legit.
Yeah.
So, and then Lee Hunter on the defensive side of the ball has also come from Auburn, and then obviously, like we said, KJ Jefferson being that big body, calling the plays in the offense. But yeah, just a lot of SEC talent in a Big 12 conference is probably going to help out quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
May I add, I just glossed over the schedule. They have a few very big games at home. They play Colorado, they play Arizona, and Utah, all three at home.
When's that Colorado game?
That is week 4.
Okay.
Saturday, September 28th, a month into the regular season. So,
Okay.
I dig that.
yeah, so
I know we're not going to take a deep dive, but could they be 3-0 going into that game?
let's see. Absolutely. They play New Hampshire, they play Sam Houston, and then they play TCU.
Okay.
They go to TCU, they're in Fort Worth, but they could very well be 3-0 at that point.
Yep. That'd be huge for the program.
Yeah.
Mr. White?
All right, so y'all both went UCF. I like that. It's a good pick.
Just because of my notes that I already had written down,
Uh-huh.
I wasn't going to change last minute.
Totally. I got a stray then. I thought about this a good amount. I think I'm going with Gundy and the boys. Oklahoma State Cowboys.
He's a man.
He's 40.
It's probably closer to 50 now.
I mean, returning the top one, if not top two, running back in the country. Shout out Quinshon Judkins. But Ollie Gordon, sensational player. Surrounding him with, the quarterback's name is slipping my mind right
Hold
now.
on,
But
I have it up. It's Alan Bowman, and he is
Alan
in his
Bowman.
7th year, so he's Cam Rising reincarnated.
experienced.
Also,
I like
Yes,
that.
a lot of experience on that team. I like Oklahoma State a lot too.
Yeah. And just looking at their schedule, I mean, it's a shoe-in. I'm not going to go, deep dive, but a couple things. All of their, games that you would circle, all but one of them are in Stillwater. So you got Arkansas at home. You got Utah in Stillwater. Love that. That's big. And that's early. That's September 21st.
That's got a conference championship implications, I believe.
It does. The biggest game that they have where they're not at home, at K-State, which could be a tough one, but other than that, the schedule looks pretty favorable. So we might be talking about a 1-loss, 2-loss Oklahoma State team, come the end of the regular season. So I'm excited to see what they do. Best running back in college football. That's a good place to start. Let's see if the quarterback can build on that.
Yeah.
Win some ball games.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah.
No?
No, I like it.
We just might be talking about them again later in this video.
Perhaps we will.
Maybe confirm that. Anyways,
we will.
anyways,
Yeah.
let's add some variety here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Next, we have best offense.
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona.
Arizona. I mean, if you're looking at just, don't get me wrong, the Big 12 is top to bottom one of the most competitive conferences that we've seen in a while. Really, the only comparison that I have is last year's Pac-12, where there's genuinely at least 6, if not 8 to 10 teams that could make the conference championship game. And Arizona's Heisman contending Noah Fafita is the reason that I am putting them on this list. I mean, the kid came in and just balled out as a freshman. It had no expectations. It'll be interesting to see how he plays with those expectations now. But I mean, the wide receiver room is loaded. Offensive line, I think they've beefed that up a little bit. Still have some holes in there, but all in all, if Arizona's going to win ball games, it's going to be because of how many points they put up.
Yeah. That's valid. I like it.
I don't
know. Did you agree?
I was about to say I went first because I wanted to make it look like I didn't steal anybody.
I mean, it's hard not to pick them. Fafita is. I agree with you. I think he's. I don't even know if you could call him a Heisman dark horse anymore. I think he's just a Heisman contender. With how he played last year, he put himself on the map. And that Arizona offense is scary. The only other team that I would maybe say would just be Oklahoma State, mostly because of Ollie Gordon. And then you have Alan Bowman. Obviously a lot of experience at quarterback and a lot of doing this. Handing the ball off to Ollie Gordon, and then you have
apparently 50 times a game. Apparently,
supposedly.
And then with Jeff Gundy at head coach. Brings a lot of experience there, and Ollie Gordon will not. It seems like he won't miss any games despite the incident. Seems like Mike Gundy has done the same thing a few times and can relate. Going off of that interview clip, but it's hard to go against Arizona.
Mike Gundy is starting to remind me of like the John Daly of college football coaches.
Honestly,
that's fair.
You got the mullet.
Exactly.
To go with it.
Exactly. If he just gained 150 pounds,
he'd be in business.
Yeah, he'd be in business.
So it seems we're all kind of in agreement about Arizona. Obviously, you threw out Oklahoma State as well.
Yep.
Any other offenses that you could see running away with the top offense in the conference?
I don't know about top offense in the conference, but I think potentially a top 3 could be Texas Tech.
I like Texas Tech.
Just because their historic run and gun style offense. They've got some wide receiver transfers coming in. I'm not gonna lie, don't have their names. Did not write them down. But during the research, I did see that they had added some pieces to that part. So
maybe I was on them too early because I remember betting on them in I think it was week 1 or 2 against Wyoming. I had them big spread. I think it was like 7.5. And they lost by like 20 in that game. And I will never bet on Texas Tech again. But
totally valid.
Hopefully I'm just early.
Yeah. One more to add here before we move on. I think one that might be flying under the radar a little bit just because of the quarterback being hurt last year is Kansas. I think Jalen Daniels is going to be back for them. They've kind of had a little bit of a Jaden Daniels. He's coming back to college. He's playing at Kansas. No, surprisingly, almost the same name, very similar play style. Great quarterback in Kansas. They kind of have made a name for themselves a little bit these past couple of years, surging. Not to the top or anything, but head and shoulders above what Kansas has done in football. Probably in program history. With where they're at. So I think they could have a solid offense with Jalen Daniels back. But
I like that pick. I'm surprised Lance Leipold has hung on this long at Kansas. I thought he would have jumped ship by now.
Yeah, after those couple years gained traction, use that as a launch pad to somewhere bigger and better. But I mean, I think that plays into Kansas's favor. Obviously, he's a good head coach and has done a lot with a little and I think recruited well. I don't know have the recruiting numbers or anything like that, but at least recruited and developed well enough to have them competitive in their conference.
Well, for Kansas's sake, we hope he sticks around.
Yeah.
Because it's fun when a historically underachieving team starts to breakthrough.
Yeah, parody is fun. It's very
Yeah.
fun.
Mm-hmm.
So
Absolutely. Anything else? We good to
No,
jump?
I think we're ready to done talking about the flashy side. And it's time to move on to the side that wins championships.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Best defense. Let's get after it.
Yeah.
Who we got?
I think it's your turn to go first.
Oh, it's mine?
Yeah.
yeah, you can go first.
I gotta pull up some research.
Okay,
Sorry, guys.
never mind.
He's got
I was
the notes.
unprepared. You know,
I'll go
What are
first.
we
he's
doing?
off the channel.
So, all right. So, I hope I don't sound like a broken record here because we were just talking about them. However,
I'm gonna do the same thing. Don't worry about it.
okay, cool.
That's who I had to.
All right, well, let's just go ahead and-
Kansas Rock Chalk Jayhawk might be a challenger for the number one defense in the Big 12 this year. So I was looking it up. They averaged giving up 26.5 points per game last year. That is the fewest in Kansas history since 2007. And they are obviously, you know, like we mentioned, they have had some issues, you know, just being a basketball school and everything with recruiting. However, they are obviously able to develop because they've had a few defensive guys like Lonnie Phelps and Austin Booker go to the NFL, you know, the defensive side of the ball. And see, the big question marks there were at defensive line. And they were actually able to go into the portal and pick up Baijobe, Baijobe,
Love that.
out of Michigan State, coming in at 6'4", 215 pounds,
Okay.
playing edge rusher.
Ooh.
That is a specimen of a man. And then on the other end, the two bookends, he's got Deshaun Warner on the other side, weighing in at 6'3", 217 as a 4-star defensive end. Pretty good for Kansas.
Can't forget Kobe Bryant as well.
Oh yeah,
The all-conference first-team cornerback.
he's
True.
nice.
You know,
Very good player.
You know, I'm a big front seven guy, but yes. Well, just
Down in the
I mean,
trenches.
Yeah. Their secondary was never the problem.
That's true.
So, but yes, it seems that they are trying their best to address the gaps, and I think that they've done that. And then, you know, if they can stay in the same ballpark at like 26, 27 points per game, I think they would do well. Because, like we mentioned, their offense has brought in some pieces. I even saw some guys saying that they might even drop that number down to 24 and a half per game. I don't know. We'll see. It's a deep league, a lot of high scoring offenses, so we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. No, are you good? Are you
Yeah, I can go. So you see the category best defense, right? And your brain immediately goes, "Oh, Utah, good."
Yeah, hard nosed.
But you take a look at some numbers and some key returners and, you know, things of that nature, and you get to thinking. And I flipped my pick just now. We're going with Iowa State.
The Cyclones.
Yes. So they are returning a defense that allowed 5.2 yards per play, returning all-conference safety Jeremiah Cooper and their leading tackler, Bo Freiler. I think so. Yeah. But you look at the state of Iowa and you think of defense. Obviously, the Hawkeyes in the Big Ten coming to you in another video.
Yeah.
Stay
I
tuned.
think Iowa,
Like and
I was
subscribe.
about to say, I think they have an easier route to being a better defense.
They have an easier route, but their neighbors down in, is it Iowa City? I think it's Iowa City.
Don't ask me that.
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's either Ames or Iowa City. I don't know geography. I think it's Ames, now that I say it.
Yeah, I got it.
Now that I say it. Yeah, fact check.
Fact check
Here
it.
we go. But they're looking good.
Ames.
Ames. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
Don't
I was
flame
gonna
me
say
for that,
Ames sounded
Iowa
right.
State fans. Ames. Y'all are going to have one hell of a defense this year. So,
Iowa's in Iowa City.
book it. I got it right.
Yeah,
Second
yeah.
time I got it right.
You
Ames.
mean- well,
Close
They
enough.
love me in Ames.
they love me in Ames. Very big there.
Very big. Really the biggest. Frankly.
Oh man,
Go ahead.
my turn.
I love corn.
It's quite the transition. Thank you, fellas.
Rain makes corn. Corn makes whiskey.
And whiskey makes Brandon frisky. All right.
Hey, now, you weren't supposed to tell people that.
Wait for this
I'll leave
weekend.
this in.
I know.
Leave it in. You're going to find out this weekend. Yeah, leave it in.
Leave it in.
Anyways. Or really leaving that in.
Oh, RIP headphone users. That's my bad.
Oh,
All right,
man.
go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, since both of you declined to take the low-hanging fruit, I'll do it. Because I don't feel like there's any other choices here. I think it's the easy choice here. It's the popular choice. It's Utah. They were kind of the anchor in the Pac-12 as far as defense went. And I think bringing that experience over to the Big 12 will be advantageous because a lot of high-powered offenses in the Pac-12 they had to face, and a few familiar faces in the Pac-12 are moving over to the Big 12 with them, so they'll have a kind of a leg up there. I'm not 100% sure as far as returning players go. I don't think they lost a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball to the draft, maybe a little bit, but let's see. I'll pull out some stats for you. 13th overall in total defense, allowing 5.21 yards of play. I'm not going to completely read all these stats. I mean, they're pretty much in the top 20, top 30 for defensive stats on NCAA.com. Deep dive, deep research. But they're 19th in overall scoring defense, and then, let's see, what are they? 37th in passing efficiency defense. But
that's a good point you bring up, Brandon, because they do play all the other Pac-12 teams that are coming with them.
So they've seen them. They've seen the familiar faces. They played high-powered offenses before, which lends itself to kind of the style of football in the Big 12, historically speaking, or at least the past however many years. But I think they're kind of a shoo-in for this category. I do like that we had variety. It would have been too easy if everybody said Utah. But I think we would be remiss to leave them out of this one.
Yep, 100%.
I like it. I think, we've got some good variety there. I think, obviously, Utah, needs no introduction.
Yeah.
But growing pains in a new conference where it seems, I guess, coming from a conference where no defense is played and going to a conference where little to no defense is played, they'll fit right in.
Yeah.
A little step up maybe in the Big 12, maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. Yeah. All right.
When was the last time a newcomer to the conference
Won
was
the conference?
betting favorite and won the conference?
That's a good question that I don't know the answer to.
It's a good
but
trivia
we can look
question.
it up later. That is a
It's
good
been
trivia
a long
question.
time because,
It wasn't in the AC, it wasn't
conferences
in the
have kind of held steady for
Yeah.
A long time.
a long time up until recently.
Yeah, because Missouri.
I was
won
going to
the
say
East,
Missouri.
but
Yeah.
they didn't win the conference.
No, I was going to say they won it. Was that their first year? They won
That
it?
was their second year.
I thought
Second
that
year.
was
I knew they won it early on.
Year 2, year 3, because
Year
Georgia.
2, year 3.
I remember 2012.
Yeah,
we played
that's
them.
true. Yep.
And then Georgia went on to
Yep.
play in the SEC.
Yep.
That's still impressive, even winning your side of
is.
the conference second year
Yep.
in the conference, and arguably to a lot of people, to us, the best conference in college football. So
Totally.
Yep.
All right.
Here's all the
anyhow,
Yeah.
moving
So
on to the
I
big
think
hitters here.
For this, we'll go each person. You can say your matchup, and then you can reveal your winner and why. So, you'll go matchup, and then say who you think is going to win, and then we'll just do it that way. Sound good?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Okay. Who wants to start? I can go if y'all want.
Go. You
Cool
go.
with that? All right.
You lead the way.
So I'm kind of teetering on one of these teams. I need to let me see real quick.
Oh, I'll go. Hold on. Let me
I just need a name. That's all. So I got K-State, Utah, but Utah's spot for me is kind of wavering just because I'm really selling myself on Oklahoma State, dude. Oh my gosh.
And you should.
Yeah. They play each other in Stillwater in week 3. I think that's going to end up being the difference of who represents the Big 12 in the bowl game, or the conference championship. As for K-State, I love K-State this season. Bringing back Avery Johnson, played really well at quarterback for them last year. And bringing in Dylan Edwards from the transfer portal, really good running back. Let me see, what else do we got here? Yeah, progressing as a passer. He, MVP of the Pop-Tarts Bowl. They don't give that out to just anybody.
Man.
Yeah.
That's the accolade right
there. Their defense led the Big 12 in turnover margin last year. So really looking for the quarterback to continue taking steps in his growth as a player, and then the defense to keep doing what they're doing. And I think they're a shoo-in for the conference championship game. So out of that matchup, we'll call it K-State Utah, just because Utah is the betting favorite in the conference. I'll favor them over Oak State. Give me K-State to win the Big 12.
Interesting.
Gotcha.
Book it.
Put in your bets now. Get in your futures.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I like it. Okay. So here... Sorry, Brandon, is it okay if I go?
No, go for it. I'm still trying to make up my mind a little bit, so
Okay,
please, by all means...
All right. So
Go.
my matchup is going to be Oklahoma State and Utah. Utah, a lot of the same reasons that Noah just gave. Don't get pissed. I've been high on Gundy and the boys for 3 years.
No, I'm not pissed. I'm just... Hey, it was fitting. It was fitting that you did the same thing to me at the end of the video that I did to you at the beginning of the video. So
Absolutely. Hey, man, that's what I'm here for. So, just... All right, and then just looking at that game, obviously, it's Utah's throwing attack with their 19-year quarterback, and Oklahoma State's running attack with their
19-year.
Yeah,
they're both
Yep.
seventh
Yeah.
years.
Probably.
That's
I don't
insane.
Know. Would y'all say Ollie Gordon has a shot at winning the Heisman?
Yes.
absolutely he
Right?
does.
Okay, 100%. Okay.
He will get the
I think he's
ball.
in New York.
That's required.
I think he'll be in New
You
York.
think he's in
Yeah.
New York? Okay. I
If
like
he
that.
if he has a good enough season, I think they have an obligation to include a running back
Mhm.
because it's become a quarterback award. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would
Just to
personally
say
love
he
it
was
if he
there.
won the Heisman.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We were just saying, sorry to interrupt. It's been since, 2016 that a running back won the Heisman? Because
Derrick Henry?
his running back in Dynasty won the Heisman last season.
But the
Hey,
funny thing
mine
is,
won too. Yeah, I
Oh,
ran
yeah?
the hell out of I run the hell out of that guy.
Oh, yours was because of rushing yards?
Yeah,
Mine
yours is because of screen passes. Bro had 3,000 yards on screen
It was
passes. It's insane.
2,300. Leave me alone.
Oh, sidebar. We're playing a game.
Later tonight.
After this, later tonight, it'll be up when this video goes live, so go check that out.
Just to lay the land, I am currently 0-2 against this man, and first game was better than the second. Let's put it that way. So I need to redeem myself.
I'm him.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to the conference championship game, Oklahoma State, Utah. I think at the end of this one, I think it's going to come down to the defense. Which obviously, when you say that, I'm going to contradict myself. Because Utah has the better defense on paper. Because Oklahoma State, looking at last year, had the number 122 total defense in FBS last year. And they gave up 441 yards per game. The good thing is they return all 11 of their starters from the last 2 games of the year. So that's good. Now, looking at the Utah side of things, they're losing a big piece. They're losing Jonah Ellis. He was their All-American defensive lineman. Went to the draft. He accounted for 37 tackles, 12 sacks, and 16 TFLs. With that being said, I understand that Utah does have depth at defense, especially in the front seven. But I am going to go ahead and say it now. Ollie Gordon and the Oklahoma State offensive line in this situation are going to sack up and try their best to run it down the throat of the front seven of Utah.
The Mighty Utes.
The Mighty Utes. They don't know how to tackle, according to the Pac-12. But anyway, I'm going with Gundy and the boys. They've been my dark horse winner of the Big 12 every year for the past 2 years. might as well keep it going while they still have a potential Heisman winner running back.
Yeah, this year's the year, baby. Yeah. That's really
if
funny.
Not now, when?
Yep.
That's funny
a
because
hard
that was
uniform
going to be my
color.
argument for Oklahoma State, to be honest with you. This is going to sound like a broken record. I'll try to fill in a couple gaps for Mr. Allen. My matchup is also Utah and Oklahoma State. The reason why I wanted to go last was I hadn't decided who I wanted to pick. I think this is a pretty likely matchup. Obviously, Utah is a newcomer, is already betting favorite, so I think they have a pretty good shot. And then my big thing for Oklahoma State was the same as Drew, if not now, then when. Mike Gundy has always run a super solid program over there in Stillwater. They're always competitive. You know, they're always right there. This past year, I believe they were pretty close until the end of the season to make the conference championship.
They were in the driver's seat.
It was crazy. They really did backdoor into that game. Like they were running away with, that clinching that berth, and then they lost like 3 out of their last 4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think they have to piece it together at some point. I want to go. I don't know. I'm trying to decide whether I want to pick Utah for variety or go with my heart in Oklahoma State, because I think I do want Oklahoma State to win more. The counterpoint to that is I just looked up Utah's rushing defense, and they were 4th overall in rushing defense last year. But counterpoint to the counterpoint, they played in the Pac-12. So take that with a grain of salt.
Not a lot of rushing going on with that.
Not quite. So I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with my heart and say Oklahoma State, just because I think Ollie Gordon is gonna have himself a year. I think he's gonna be in New York. Will he win it? Probably not. There will probably be a quarterback that does good enough statistically for them to give it to him. Hopefully Carson back. But look, I like Oklahoma State a lot, and I think they can definitely do it. And I think this is the year to do it, because their time, I feel like, is running out with Gundy. He's done right by them. He's stuck around with them. They've been super consistent. They finally have a Heisman contending running back, and I think they're going to put all of their focus into that. And I think they win the Big 12.
All the chips to the middle of the table.
I think it's due, because I mean, not to say that they'll ever fire Gundy, but I mean, I feel like this is the best team he's had in a long time, if not ever, with Oak State.
Perpetual contract.
Yeah, Mike Gundy's currently on a perpetual contract.
Yeah, I mean, he's not anywhere near hot seat conversations.
You were just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, and that's another argument with teams and what their goals are. Mm-hmm. I think Oklahoma State is more than happy with how they perform in football. Now, obviously, anybody would love to do better. I think their floor is high enough, however, for them to be pretty comfortable with their current situation.
Got me second guessing my pick, man. I love Oklahoma State, but I don't know. Will they capitalize on having their best running back since Barry Sanders?
They need to.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to leave it, boys.
No, I like it.
This was a blast. I like the updated format.
Yeah.
This is nice.
I feel like we talked a lot. Everybody got the chance to say their piece, and we're chilling at around 40 minutes.
Love that.
A lot more digestible.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, if you enjoyed the video and are still here, please feel free to drop a like, subscribe. We really appreciate the support we've gotten recently. Chasing 500, then to the moon.
Yep.
So we appreciate you being around for the ride, and as always, we'll see you next time.